Being a pet sitter and a dog walker can be one of the most fun and rewarding jobs in the whole world. But it's not all playing with puppies and cuddling kittens. It can be very emotionally and physically draining, as well as just plain gross at times. Whether you're a client wanting a peek behind the scenes or you're thinking about becoming a pet sitter or a dog walker yourself, you're gonna wanna hear about these things. But before I get into the worst parts of being a pet sitter and a dog walker, I will ask you to please just hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with my weekly content. I put out videos every week about being a full-time professional pet sitter and dog walker and building a successful pet business. And I would also love it if you shared your experiences and your wisdom with me down in the comments below. I think the most obvious bad part of being a pet sitter and a dog walker is the schedule. It's not uncommon at all for clients to want visits super early in the morning or super late at night. And between doing random drop-in visits all throughout the day and then overnight care at night, it almost makes it impossible to have a regular routine and schedule for your own life. And not to mention, holidays are always the busiest time for us, which means it's almost impossible to spend a whole holiday with your family. Between all of that and then being away from home for weeks at a time sometimes with overnight care, it can really play a big toll on our relationships with our friends and family and even our relationship with ourselves if we're not careful. And speaking of family, another bad part of being a pet sitter and a dog walker is the time away from our own pets. I've heard countless pet sitters say over the years that they spend more time with their clients' pets than they do their own. And I myself have been wanting to get a golden retriever puppy for years, but I keep putting it off because I spend so much time caring for everyone else's puppies, there's no way that I would have time for one of my own. Something else that can really suck about being a pet sitter and a dog walker is the absolute lack of respect. There are so many people out there that just don't see what we do as a real job. So you'll find yourself constantly explaining yourself and justifying what you do, how you do it, and why you do it that way, both to your family, your friends, and even your own clients. Now, it does get a little bit better and easier the longer that you've done it, but I can tell you, I've been doing this full-time professionally for 8 years, and I still find myself explaining what I do and why I do it on a weekly basis. Probably the worst part of being a pet sitter and a dog walker is when a pet passes away. We literally dedicate our lives to caring for these pets, and we fall in love with them in the process. So sometimes when they pass, it can be almost as hard on us as it is on the owners. And that can be really hard for some people to cope with. Another big downside to being a pet sitter and a dog walker is the wear and tear on our own bodies. In the 8 years that I have been doing this, I have gotten countless scars all over my arms and legs from being bitten and scratched. And not only that, I have permanent damage to my left wrist from walking an uncontrollable dog. And that leads me right into the next bad part of being a pet sitter and a dog walker is the fact that we are not offered any kind of health insurance or benefits or any of that cool stuff that you get from working a normal job. We have to go out and plan for our own retirement all by ourselves and find our own insurance, do all of that all on our own. And for someone that has never worked for themselves before, that can be extremely difficult, not to mention expensive. There are obviously way more pros than cons to being a pet sitter and a dog walker, but I hope this gives you some insight and kind of a behind the scenes look into how difficult it can really be and some of the things that go into this that people just don't think about. I would love it if you shared your experiences down in the comments below and hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with my content. I'm Doug the Dog Guy from Bad to the Bone Pet Care, reminding you to stay positive.